Hey guys, it's James here from Jraegames, and I'm back with another video. I apologize. I hope you're not getting sick of me with all the latest videos, but this is part 2 of the positional tracking using DRIVER4VR. And in this video, we are going to look at controllers, specifically the PS Move controller, since that is probably what you are using or what you have available to you already. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one. Alright, now in the last video we looked at how to set up our tracking using the Kinect as our tracking camera, and we looked at skeleton tracking and how awesome the Kinect does right out of the box basically with skeleton tracking using DRIVER4VR. Now, unfortunately, we still don't have the ability to control the Steam VR environment using just skeleton tracking. So this is where we need to use some sort of a controller device. In this case, I'm using PS Move as my controller in order to interact with the Steam VR environment. And I've done tons of videos on different controller setups. But in this case, we're going to look at PS Move specifically because chances are this is what you already have on hand with your PSVR. Now, some people already noticed that the newest version of PS Move does not have the mini USB port. It's very important that you have the mini USB port for this to work. If you have the ones with the micro USB, then I strongly recommend that you try to find an old used pair from somebody somewhere locally, however you get it, and they should be relatively cheap. The older the better, because the older you can find will have the magnetometer inside, which helps a lot with drift while you're playing your games. So anyways, that's what you're going to want to do. You want to get a PS Move controller. You can preferably get two. That would be best. Most games require both hands. And let's look at how to set this up. Okay, so now we're ready to actually go and get these things hooked up and working with our Kinect. And so before we get started, one thing I strongly recommend that I forgot to mention in the last video is that you should probably download OpenVR Advanced Settings. I'll put a link in the description below. This is a fantastic add-on to Steam VR. It allows you to adjust your position in the actual play space that you're in. Allows you to adjust your height, your left, right, forward, and back. I love this add-on. I use it all the time. I recommend you guys get it. It's free. I'll put the link in the description below. Anyways, we are ready to get started with our PS Move hookup. Now, DRIVER4VR supports a variety of different controllers. They support the Wii controller, they support Daydream, they support Leap Motion, all sorts of different controllers that you can hook up with. The reason I'm going with PS Move is because most of you probably already have it, and that's why we're going to try that as our first option. Now, you will have to download PS Move service because this is still technically the only way to connect to PS Move controllers on the PC. So I will put a link in the description below for the latest, about a year old, PS Move Steam VR Bridge, version 1.4.2. And once you download that, what you're going to want to do, and if you've seen my other videos and you know how this used to be a real pain to set up, I'm going to tell you that it is so much easier with DRIVER4VR. It's going to save you tons of time. So once you download that, you're going to look for the psmoveservice.exe, and we're running it in admin mode. I'm going to double click that, and I'm going to say yes, and you're going to see what looks like a bunch of code come up on the screen. Here it is, right here. Let me show you again. There we go. That's what it's going to look like. That means you did it correctly. And now we're going to look for the file called PS Move Config Tool. It's very important that you do not close this you just put it down on the taskbar and leave it running. Now we go to Config Tool. We're going to hit Connect here. And we're going to go to Controller Settings. Yes. And right now I have a controller connected. This one is already connected, but this one is not. Chances are when you come into here, you're not going to see any of this. It's going to ask you to connect a controller to start pairing. So I'm going to take this controller, I'm going to hook it up in the bottom, mini USB. And now at the bottom here, I've got an option to pair my USB controller. So if I click that, I get this menu. If you've done this before, you know what this process is all about. You're going to press the PlayStation button a few times. Sometimes it takes longer than others, until it goes to 6 out of 6. All right. Now Windows will detect that there's something that's been plugged in. Press it a few more times. You'll see it goes up and down and all over the place until it connects to your computer. Now, one thing that's important to mention is that you will need a Bluetooth adapter to connect your PlayStation Move controllers to the computer. I'm using an Asus Bluetooth adapter. Once I disconnect that, you'll see that the red light stays lit, which means that it is connected to the computer, and we are good to go. Now, when your controllers are connected, when they already have gone through that process, we are going to calibrate the gyroscope, and that's all we're going to have to do. So we're going to click. You see I got two controllers. One is cyan, one is magenta. I'm going to go to the first one. I'm going to click Calibrate Gyroscope. It's going to do its thing. Basically, it's checking the gyroscope within the controller to check for drift. To compensate for that, it's going to allow us to measure the rotation and all that good stuff. Now, if you have a really old controller, if you're lucky, you can do the magnetometer setup where you'll have to spin the controller, and that gives you even more precise control over the drift as well. Okay, so we'll say OK. That controller is now done. So if I take this controller and I spin it, now it recognizes the position of that controller. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the other controller. I'm going to hit Calibrate. Let it do its thing. And again, I know this looks like a lot of work. It honestly takes no time at all. You do it once, your controllers will be synced to your computer, and that's it. You never have to do it again. So let's let that go through. And now the second controller, the one that we just connected, will be hooked up as well. And we're going to hit OK. Now you can see this controller has been calibrated as well. We're going to hit OK. We're going to return to the main menu and we're going to exit. Everything we just did got saved, and it's stored, or at least it's running through PS Move service, which is running in the background. All right, so that part of the process is out of the way. It's done. We can close that. And now I'm going to pause, and I'm going to get my Steam all up and running to the point where we had it yesterday in part 1, and we'll continue on from there. Okay, we are at the point now where we were yesterday with our DRIVER4VR running. Everything is in skeleton mode, and we are ready to hook up the controllers now to our Steam VR. Now, one thing I forgot to mention yesterday, if you notice that the position of your headset and the Kinect do not match up, you have a calibrate option here for the head tracking. If you hit calibrate, you press calibrate, it's going to detect the position, or it's going to measure the position of the headset compared to the actual sensor itself, which in this case is the Kinect. That can be useful if you did not line up your headset to the Kinect when you did the initial startup. So keep in mind that that is there if you are experiencing sort of lineup or alignment issues. Now what we're going to do is we're going to focus on hand controllers because that's kind of the next step in here to getting this going. And inside hand controllers, you'll see all sorts of different controllers we can use. We have the LED ball, which is basically like the ping pong ball or a lit ball that I showed you in my other videos that we could track. We got Leap Motion, we got Nolo, which we've looked at in other videos. We got the PS Move service. It says it's not done yet. It works really great. We're going to use it. And we got virtual trackers as well. So we're going to look at PS Move service because that's what we just started up. We're going to click that, and now we're ready to hook up the controllers. Now before we go ahead, we need to make sure that the controllers are actually being connected to DRIVER4VR. So we're going to go to Device Manager, and you'll see down at the bottom where it says Device Configuration, here's where we have the settings for the different types of controllers that we can connect. So we got PS Move, we got Daydream, Joy-Con, VR Gamepad, Wii Motion, and Emulation, which is basically mouse emulation. We are using PS Move, and in the settings where it says off right now, we are going to go and turn on PS Move services. And we're going to hit OK, and we're going to turn on, and it's going to tell us that the service has started successfully. Now, here's where I absolutely love DRIVER4VR. Now that this is on, it is connected, and we don't have to do much of anything else. Inside of our configuration, you can skip these two because we already did that with our PS Move config tool. Go to configuration. It will show you how the controller is mapped for Steam VR. And you have a few options here that you can change depending on your preference. Personally, I wanted to use my touchpad, so I set it to double click. Basically, when I want to use my touchpad, I double click the move button. I thought that's kind of cool, and you'll see how that works in a sec. We got a rotation angle, so basically when you rotate, how big of a rotation does your controllers do, and in this case it's 180. Where do your controllers rotate from? I have it set to your location. So basically I am standing still for the most part, and the controllers rotate around me. If you would rather have them rotate around the chaperone, which is basically the play area, you can use that as well. It's your preference. I have it set to my location. If you find that your movements are reversed, you can turn on reverse rotation so they rotate the other way. And if you want to add a bit of a delay between when the touchpad is pressed and reset, you can basically turn this. I just left this at default. I didn't notice. I haven't really had to change that. But this here on the right hand side will show you the calibration or the mapping for the controllers. And it's pretty much the same as what you'd be used to if you're playing on the PS4. So that is good to go. We're going to close it. We're almost done. We're not done yet. Over on the right hand side here, we're going to click Update List of Devices, and you're going to see that the controllers come in from PS Move service. They show up here. We need to assign them to the left and right hands in our DRIVER4VR. So first we're going to click left. We're going to click the first controller. We're going to click Assign. Then we're going to click right. And we're going to click the second controller, and we're going to click Assign. And you'll see now that the left and right hands match the two controllers that we brought in from PS Move service. We are now ready to start DRIVER4VR. Alright, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch the camera over to my play area. I'm going to hit Start. And Steam VR is now waiting for me to enter the play area. Actually, DRIVER4VR is waiting for me to enter. You'll notice that the lights come on the controller, which means they're waiting to be used, which is awesome. So let me go over to my play place and I will show you what to do next. Okay, I'm going to walk over to my play area and hopefully you can see what I see. You'll notice that the lights came on. And now when we go into the game, you'll see that the room comes alive because I have entered the play area. You'll notice my hands are still controllers. However, now those controllers are controlled by PS Move service. So I've got rotation and all the rest of it. Now you'll notice that the controllers do not line up properly. And so what we need to do, we need to put our arms out. We're going to hold the select button on both controllers. And what that should do is reset the calibration, or calibrate them for where the center or the forward-facing direction is for how we are standing. I'm going to just slide this chair out of the way so it's not getting in the way of me playing. And you'll notice now that I'm within the chaperone area, which is that circle below me. And I am a little bit lower than I want to be. I'm pretty short, but I'm really short right now in VR. So this is where that advanced settings comes in, where it's super, super useful, and we can basically adjust our play area to whatever we want. If we press the menu button, you'll now see that in our Steam VR dashboard we have an advanced button. If we press that, we can go into all these different settings for our play area within Steam VR. So there's all sorts of things you can do here that are super useful, not just play area. But the one I use the most is play space. And this is where I can actually adjust my position within the play area. And in this case, I want to do up and down. So if I hit the minus, I'm actually going to become much taller, as you can now see. And actually that is very close. It feels really natural to where I should be in real life. However, I can go in, I can make really small adjustments left and right, forward, back, up and down, so that my play space matches my real space as closely as possible. Now, the one complaint I have with PS Move is that you are going to have to recalibrate quite often. I'm going to say every couple minutes. But let's look at Rec Room as an example of a game we can try with the PS Move and how it would work in an actual game scenario. Here we go. Now I know Rec Room has its own mirror that's going to show up. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold. It feels like something coming on here. Like I said, I'm constantly recalibrating, usually during loading screens so it doesn't affect my gameplay. But let's go in and let me show you how it looks. Now, once this loads up, I'll be in my dorm room, and you should see the virtual version of me. I'll be honest, I don't play this game much, but here I am.
Would you like to spend a few minutes learning how to create a custom?
I know how to play this game. No, I'm good, thank you. No, I'm good. I'm going to just teleport over here. Now, I am in my room, and as you can see, my hands are tracking beautifully. Okay, I'm going to just rotate over. Now, this is a neat feature. If you want to rotate within the VR space, you hold the move button. Now, I haven't mastered this yet, but you hold the move button, and you swipe in the direction that you want to move. All right? Now, I find that messes up my controllers a little bit when I do that, so I am recalibrating. However, it is a neat way to to move through the space. I haven't quite mastered it yet, as you can tell, but it does work. And so that is the way we can rotate. That'll work in other games as well. Now, if you are playing Rec Room, if you are going to decide that this is the game that you want to play, what I did is I went to my settings, that's on my watch, and I made a few adjustments that I found worked nicely. First of all, I muted my microphone because I don't want people to hear me talking right now. But keep in mind, you can use the microphone that's built into your PS VR, and that works great for talking to people. I didn't do anything in experience, but gameplay, I set it for 180 tracking mode. It's going to make it a little easier. I'll show you what that does, what that adds. And I set my swipe rotation to 45. If you want the rotations to be bigger, you can set that to 90. It's up to you. There are some more options and comfort options if you feel like you're getting sick. I don't have that problem, so it hasn't been an issue. So those are the only real adjustments that I made. But you can see that everything is tracking nicely, and we are able to at least function in this VR world without any major issues. Now, it's not going to be perfect, all right, but we are looking at a super simple way of setting this up. And as you can tell, this took no time at all. And we didn't have to set up cameras. We didn't have to do color calibration. We didn't have to do any of that. DRIVER4VR handles it all, and it handles it beautifully. So you can see that this is working great. Now I'm going to go and actually head over to the rec center and play a game of something. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just go kind of walk around. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, recalibrate during loading screens. And here we go. And I am in the rec room area. And let me just show you, like, picking up things, no problem, using the trigger. Throwing is a bit of an issue, I think, because of the accelerometer. However, you are able to manipulate things just like anybody else. To be totally honest, I don't think anybody will ever notice that you're not playing on a PC device like a Vive or a Rift or even a mixed reality headset. You're going to look just like and function just like everybody else. I'm going to go and play, let me see here. Let's do something like paddleball maybe. That might be a good one. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw the latest update of Rec Room, but they added Rec Royale. So if you are a Fortnite/PUBG fan, well, now you have the option of playing Rec Royale. It's a lot of fun. I recommend you try it. It's really cool. If you saw my video on Standout, it's not quite that level of play because Standout is really, really well done. It's meant for it, but it is still a lot of fun. Try it out. Let's do something like paddleball. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the hop, I suck. I'm probably going to get beaten pretty bad, but that'll be fun. Just to show you that everything works, though. Now, like I said, if you have the really old PS Move controllers, you will have the magnetometer. I forget the name exactly. But anyways, it will reduce drift quite a bit. So if you can get your hands on an old PS Move, technically there's been 3 versions of the PS Move. There's been the originals that have the magnetometer. Then the second version, they took it out. And now the third version, they removed the mini USB. So if you can get the very first ones, those are the ones that are going to work the best. And you're going to have the least amount of drift in your controllers. Doesn't look like anybody's around.
Feel free to practice.
Unfortunately. But let's go practice. It's a good idea.
Looks like you're the first one.
Let's go and practice. Now, again, we've got room scale.
Invite your friends to join
So I can move around inside of here pretty easily. Forward and back. Now, I don't know why the ball's over here, but I can hit that. Yeah, there we go. I can hit that fairly easy. And like I said, I suck, so here we go. Nice. Right, so you can see that everything is working, and it's tracking fairly smoothly. Again, for a quick and easy setup, this is working really nicely. It's going to get you into a lot of VR sort of experiences quick and easy. Wow, I didn't even have a chance. That guy, I didn't even have my loading screen done yet. Here we go. Boom. Oh yeah. No, oh, never mind. I thought I had a goal. Oh yeah, backhand. Holy man. Some of these guys are, they must just play this 24/7 because they're ridiculously good. Okay, all right. Never mind. That was pretty good. Jeez, you just can't stop that. Cannot stop that. Anyways, you can see that I am able to play with these guys. I'm able to have a good time with them. And I am now going to leave. I'm not rage quitting. I'm just leaving. Oh, he threw his controller at me. Or his racket. I guess he thought I was rage quitting. So there you go, guys. You can see that that works nicely. I'm going to head back to the computer to kind of wrap up. And hopefully this is a great option for you guys. Relatively easy to set up. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you found that useful, and now you can take your PS Move controllers and jump in and play your games right away without any crazy setup. You don't have to hook up any cameras. You don't have to do any calibration. It's quick and easy. That's what I really love about it. You will, however, notice a few issues. You probably saw that I had to calibrate or recalibrate quite a bit. That is one of the issues. That is one of the cons about this setup. However, it does work. The mapping is great right out of the box. You're going to find that it's mapped nicely, and you're going to be able to work with that for a lot of games. Anyways, in the next video, because I'm going to have a part 3 probably in the next week, we are going to look at full body tracking, and we are going to be using Nolo again. We're going to go back to Nolo just because I feel it is the superior tracking system for OS VR right now. And on that note, the great people over at Nolo VR have offered a 5% discount to people on this channel. So make sure to check that out in the description below. Get in on that so that you can save a bit of money and possibly move over to Nolo in the future. Anyways, till next time, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment below, subscribe and like. Let me know what you want to see, and I will put it on the list. Hopefully I'll get it done. Till next time, thanks for watching.